Hello again, Michael Ware with the Iowa Firearms Coalition. We have with us today Eddie Andrews, 2026 gubernatorial candidate for the state of Iowa. Hello.
How are you, Michael?
Doing very well. Thank you very much for coming on today. We're doing a series of these Second Amendment panel discussions. We're asking four basic questions of the candidates, so it's the same for everybody. And we're calling this the Second Amendment litmus test for basically for political service. So let me give the audience, the people listening here, the people following us, the premise, and then we'll jump right into four questions, and I'll turn it over to you. Are you okay with that?
I'm perfectly good with that.
Okay, so I'm gleaning this from a gentleman named L. Neil Smith, who's an artist, or excuse me, a writer. I think he's passed away now, but this was something that was gleaned from a speech of his, and I have happened to believe this for a long time. IFC believes this, but this is well put, so I'm going to use his words. This is regarding the Second Amendment as a philosophical and fundamental tool as a litmus test for politicians. It's the ultimate test to which any politician or political philosophy can be put. If a politician isn't perfectly comfortable with the idea of his average constituent, any man, woman, or responsible child, walking into a hardware store and paying cash for any rifle, shotgun, handgun, machine gun, anything without producing ID or signing one scrap of paper, he isn't your friend no matter what he tells you. If he isn't genuinely enthusiastic about his average constituent, stuffing that weapon into a purse or a pocket or tucking it in a coat and walking home without asking anybody's permission, he's a four-flusher, no matter what he claims. What his attitude toward your ownership and use of weapons conveys is his real attitude about you. And if he doesn't trust you, then why in the name of John Moses Browning should you trust him? If he doesn't want you to have the means of defending your life, do you want him in a position to control it? If he makes excuses about obeying a law he's sworn to uphold and defend, the highest law of the land, the Bill of Rights, do you want to entrust him with anything? And I say these things.
I like it.
I think they're very well put. I really do. Okay, so here are the four questions that we're asking everybody. And these are the four items that are on IFC's political agenda, legislative agenda rather, moving into 2026. So here's the first one. Let me get ready here. History has shown that making a rule or posting a sign declaring a place a no-gun zone, such as a school, does nothing to protect the people gathered there. In fact, there is irrefutable evidence that some of the worst mass murderers specifically chose those sites to avoid armed resistance. Federal law and some states' laws allow a person with a valid permit to carry a firearm in schools and on school property. The question is, will you support changing Iowa code to support a permit to carry being sufficient for any school?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Wow, I could expand, but it really gets back, the statement you just read, which was very strong, very straightforward, really gets down to what the whole Second Amendment is about. I mean, it's about protection. Anyone can quote it. But I know, I was just talking about this with my first clerk, and they came from another country, and they understand it probably from the angle that the founding fathers understood it, right? It's all the bad guys had weapons, none of the good guys had weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And she probably can't quote it right now, but she gets it. She understands why we have to have the right to defend ourselves. And so I 100% agree with the premise of this question. 100%.
Fantastic. All right. Well, let me ask you the second one.
All right.
When an employer bans the possession of a firearm or ammunition in a private vehicle on employer property, employees must face a choice of risking dismissal by ignoring the rule or being disarmed from the time they leave home until they return, no matter how long their commute or how many places they need to visit. IFC believes that the proper place to draw the line between the rights of employers and the rights, including the expectation of privacy and to the right to be armed in self-defense, is at the locked door of a private vehicle. The laws of 26 other states agree. Will you support legislation to protect Iowans from the de facto firearm ban on private and public employer parking lots?
Yes. Boy, these are so simple. As a matter of fact, didn't we pass this? I or we worked on legislation in the Iowa House on this very topic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We
So
don't.
not
We
only
haven't.
do I'm sorry.
No, we haven't put anything in front of the governor yet, but yes, it's been worked on. Yes.
Yes, and so my point is saying not only do I verbally say it, I've supported this whole concept and this law, this or excuse me, bill right now, um, throughout my legislative career. So, and I think if I'm correct, this one got stopped in the Senate.
Well, there have been different versions, different iterations, but no, we haven't seen it make it through the Senate. I think a few of most of the bills that we're going to discuss today have originated in the House. The Senate is interested in doing more of these things in the future, originating them. And I'll be honest with you, I'm very greedy when it comes to the Second Amendment. I don't care where they originate. I just want them passed.
Yeah.
So, but we're willing to work with
Absolutely.
anybody that would like to pick them up and run.
Yes. So yes, 100%.
Thank you very much. Let me hop to the third question. Since 1934, federal law has tightly regulated but does not prohibit the private ownership of machine guns, suppressors, short barrel rifles, shotguns, destructive devices, blah, 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 blah. Iowa law terms these as offensive weapons. Since 2016 and 2017, Iowa has allowed for the private ownership and use of suppressors and short barrel rifles and shotguns. The repeal of the state's earlier prohibition has not resulted in any apparent problems. Iowa is one of only 14 states that ban the private possession of machine guns, even when in full compliance with federal law. Nationwide, crimes committed with lawfully possessed machine guns has been almost non-existent. IFC believes Iowa's ban on the offensive weapons is redundant and unnecessary. The question is, will you support removing 724.1, that's the offensive weapons code,
Yes,
and related statutes from Iowa code?
Yes. These are so simple.
Well, I don't disagree with you, but there might be people out there who do, and I don't think they brought them to full context. But
and I think, removing, was it the short barrel, and then it was suppressors first, and then I think in 16, and then short barrel and shotguns, I believe, was 17, right?
That sounds right. Yes.
Okay. And they, at that point, I think that was when the Democrats were in control. But I think what really should have happened is they just, no, they weren't in control. But they should have just removed the entire section. That's my belief. Because you're in compliance with the spirit and the law of the Second Amendment. You're in compliance with federal law. So why should Iowa have more restrictions?
I don't know.
Should not.
I agree. And I think you're seeing various court cases move their way through district level, whatever else, that are saying, 18, 19, and 20-year-olds, you guys were sage enough to rectify the problems there last year for the purposes of carrying. Well, and those are making their way through the courts. I really don't have any doubt that at some point this will make it to the Supreme Court, and that they'll say, well, 18, 19, and 20-year-olds are adults. So adults. Why this different level of conveyance of rights? It's not going to be any different with NFA weapons or anything that I would call as an offensive weapons list. That's pretty silly, and it would be honestly very ugly for Iowa to get sued with as much red as there is going on at the moment over something that the legislature ought to take care of. So we're hoping that does come to fruition. So I'll read the last question. Go ahead. Sorry.
And just for the record, since you mentioned that the 18-year-old law, I did vote in favor of that as well. So I guess I enjoy not just saying these things, but I've got a record to show support of these. So
certainly,
thought I'd just point that out.
Okay. Yep. Now, let me give you the last question, and then I'm going to turn it over to you, Eddie, and you're welcome to run in any direction you want to run. So here's the last one. The Iowa Firearms Coalition advocates for creation of a specially Gadsden flag license plate in Iowa, symbolizing Second Amendment rights and the opposition to government overreach. The plan is intended to be a voluntary funding mechanism for two-way educational programs to an additional fee. Despite passing the Iowa House with bipartisan support, 2 years consecutively, the measure failed in the Senate, prompting IMC to urge Iowans to contact their legislators in support of the plate, which they see as a reflection of the will of the people, especially following the passage of the state's Freedom Amendment. The historical "Don't Tread on Me" motto of the Gadsden flag is highlighted as a powerful statement against government intrusion. The question is, will you support the Gadsden plate legislation that directs voluntary funding for two-way education, safety, and training?
Again, yes, I support it and I voted for it.
Yes, you did. Thank you. Grand slam on those questions. Thank you very much.
Yeah, these are so simple because, when you talk about the Second Amendment, it's the only time you see that language shall not be infringed. And they knew what they were doing. They intentionally put that language there so you don't mess with it. I was having a discussion in the last few days with someone, and they were a little shocked. I reminded them that in the colonial days, that if there were large gatherings, in some local laws would require you, hey guys, make sure you bring your weapons because there might be an attack. And so some of the people just don't understand that good guys with guns can deter bad guys with guns and protect yourself. So
I agree.
Yeah, I fully stand in support of these questions.
Okay, Eddie, the floor is yours. Well, you're welcome to use it how you see fit. We've got your website up here, and that's EDDIE4 Iowa.com, EddieForIowa.com. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you so much, Michael, and all the viewers. I appreciate you taking the time to actually listen to this. And this topic is so fundamental to really anybody who wants to run for any office, for that matter, because we raise our right hand every beginning session as a state legislator, as a senator, or as a governor, or whatever office you hold. We raise our right hand to defend the Constitution of the United States, to defend the Constitution of the state of Iowa. And by definition, it's our job to protect the Second Amendment. Shall not be infringed is there for a reason. And so on this issue, I agree 100% with your line of questions, with the and I have done so not just in word, but also voted in favor of the laws that and bills that were in front of me, supporting the Second Amendment. So for those of you guys who don't know me, just a little bit broader perspective, I'm a 3-term state representative, and I am in not one of, but the toughest district for a Republican. And, I've never entered a race in which I was actually favored. The first one, I unseated a Democrat, outspent 6-1. I had no name recognition, but we had a message that resonated, and worked my butt off. Wore out 3 different pairs of shoes. And after the second time redistricting, I inherited, it turned from a purple district to a pretty solid blue district. And I didn't realize how we were kind of Charlie Kirk-esque, almost by accident. I didn't realize that, but didn't think about it until like a couple weeks ago, because I would just set up shop at a farmer's market or an open field and just say, come stump the legislator, give free cookies, free lemonade, and let's just have a chat. And I can't tell you how many times those conversations help change people's minds. And we won in this district while being a pretty constitutional conservative, unashamedly so. And but just having open discussions, right? And the things I guess besides defend the Second Amendment, there are a couple things that kind of led me even to run the first time, and that's mental health. That's not really a kind of a rah, red or blue kind of an issue, but for the families who are affected by our mental health, who challenges that we have in our system. Huh. It's the changes that we've been able to make have been very, very meaningful, and we have a long way to go. Um, Education is a passion of mine. I want to get education in Iowa back to number one, like it was when I was a kid.
Mhm.
When we led the nation, not we weren't just near the top, we led the nation for a long time. And unfortunately, the powers that be in Iowa over the last, and I would say both Republicans and Democrats kind of abandoned the Iowa model and in favor of a national model that didn't work and
Mhm.
still isn't working. And so one of the first things I want to do is get rid of the remnants of No Child Left Behind and Common Core and return to a modified Iowa model that refocuses the classroom as as golden, right? Those resources should be focused more on those classrooms and not and less so on administrative um, forces there. Number three, property rights and property taxes are critical. Property taxes, I know you, Michael, want to pay more in property taxes, but the rest of us may have an issue with that. And so I'm trying to redesign the entire system. I'm kind of a go big or go home kind of guy.
Yeah.
Um, Instead of tweaking around the edges, I'd like to get rid of them all, start over. And we can do that. My plan is probably about 90-ish% done after the most recent changes from feds. But we're still working on that. Again, after the big beautiful bill changed a few things, but we can get that done. Also, property rights. If you're in a rural Iowa, I know, especially in northern Iowa, that's a very critical issue. I believe that, again, it's government's job to protect your property rights. Um, and help you defend your land, not join in with people to take your land or or lease your land or use your land without your permission. And so that just irks the mess out of me. And on day one, I will solve that. I've been in that fight. As a matter of fact, I'm the first guy in of all the gubernatorial candidates to step in that fight, even though I'm from an urban district or largely an urban district, but it's a constitutional issue, just like the Second Amendment. It's our job to defend your rights. Um, and all of those things together. Uh, my marketing people tell me I should not list all 17 of my points and just stick with those four. Um, but I really love the state. You're never going to find anybody that works harder than Eddie Andrews. Um, and it's proven by continually winning in races. Again, like I said, I've never entered a race in which I was supposed to win. And yet our message keeps resonating with people, and we keep adding people to the party. And I think with those things, I think I am the best guy to win in the general election. And so I humbly ask for your support, donations, if you got any rich uncles, uh, or or anybody.
Yeah.
Um, Join our team. Go to eddie4iowa.com/volunteer. Just eddie4iowa.com or visit us on the socials and join our team. We've been traveling the state. Senator Grassley jokingly said the other day, he says, well, Eddie, I think you're going to do this full Grassley faster than anybody else, so why don't you just do it twice and call it the Fast Eddie? And I don't know if I'm going to call it the Fast Eddie, but the point is we're getting our message out across the state and having great reception everywhere we go. Love to hear more from you. Again, I give out my number. It's 515-800 Iowa. And for the Gen Z people who can't figure out the last four digits are actually numbers, it's 515-800-4692. That's my real number. So text me, holler at me at any time with any question. Again, Eddie Andrews, candidate for the 44th governor of this great state.
Well, fantastic. Thank you. We do need to touch on one quick thing. You and I
Please do.
shared a laugh over my willingness and desire to pay more property tax. Just to make sure that there's no mistake there. I do not wish to do that. That was humor. So we need to make sure somebody else to take that out of context.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you hear Michael
Yes.
say you want to pay more taxes? Yeah, I heard that too. No, that's not true. But Eddie
Thank you, Michael,
Andrews, yes, thank you. 2026 Iowa gubernatorial candidate. We're glad that you're here. I'm going to give you the last word for the exit, and then we'll go. So go ahead if you've got one more thing to say, please.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you to IFC and everybody that's here. It's because of people like you who defend this state and defend yourself, defend your property. In part, that's why we're here. And I'm here to make sure that the tail end of that Second Amendment shall not be infringed is defended when I'm governor. And so please visit eddieforiowa.com. And I'd love to have your support as the grassroots candidate for the 44th governor of this great state.
Thank you. There you go, folks.